My fiancé said, "Kiss me at midnight." I replied, "Kiss this goodbye." Then I left before countdown, canceled our plans, disappeared, and I smiled when she spent New Year's alone after her affair was exposed. Hey Reddit. Baby, promise you'll kiss me at midnight? Make it special this year. I looked up from my phone, meeting Sophie's eyes across our apartment's kitchen island. December 30th, 11:30 p.m. She wore that red dress I'd bought her last Valentine's Day, the one she said made her feel beautiful. Her makeup was perfect. Her smile was radiant. "Sure," I said flatly, returning my gaze to the screen. "Just sure." Her smile faltered. "Babe, what's wrong?" I'm 23. She's 24. We'd been together 4 years, engaged for 6 months. Tomorrow was supposed to be our New Year's Eve engagement party. 50 guests, champagne tower, the works. I'd spent 3 months planning it with her mother. Past tense on all of that. Nothing's wrong. I stood up, pocketing my phone. "Actually, I'm heading out." "Out? Now?" She laughed nervously. "We were going to watch movies, remember? Stay in tonight, go big tomorrow." Change of plans. I grabbed my keys from the hook by the door. Sophie's heels clicked rapidly across the hardwood as she followed me. "Where are you going?" "It's almost midnight on New Year's Eve." "It's December 30th. I corrected, pulling on my jacket. "And I'm going to Daniel's place." "Daniel's?" Her voice pitched higher. "You hate Daniel's parties. You said they were obnoxious frat boy reunions." "Guess I changed my mind." I opened the door. She grabbed my arm, her French manicure digging slightly into my sleeve. "Stop. Just stop and talk to me." Her eyes searched mine. "You've been weird all week. Ever since you got back from that conference." "What happened?" "The conference." "Right." I told her I was attending a 3-day marketing conference in Chicago. Hotel conference rooms, boring PowerPoints, networking dinners. She'd kissed me goodbye at the airport, told me she'd miss me. What I actually did was stay at my buddy Trevor's apartment across town. Because Trevor had shown me something the week before. Something that required me to be out of town while I verified it was real. "Nothing happened," I said. "Just realized Daniel throws better parties than I remembered." "You're lying." Her grip tightened. "You don't lie to me. We don't do that. We're honest with each other, remember? That's our thing." The audacity of that statement nearly made me laugh. "Let go of my arm, Sophie. Not until you tell me what's going on." "Fine." I turned to face her fully. "I don't want to spend New Year's Eve with you." "That clear enough." Her hand dropped. She stepped back like I'd slapped her. "What? You wanted honesty. There it is. Are you?" Her voice cracked. "Are you breaking up with me?" 2 days before our engagement party. "The party's canceled." "What do you mean canceled?" "My parents are flying in tomorrow morning. Your mom already drove up from." "I sent the cancellation emails 3 days ago. Check your spam folder if you don't believe me." She pulled out her phone with shaking hands, scrolling frantically. I watched her face drain of color as she found the messages. You canceled without telling me? How could you?" "Also canceled the venue deposit. Lost $2,000, but whatever. Consider it tuition." "Tuition for what?" Tears started flowing, smearing her mascara. "I don't understand what's happening right now. I should have felt something. Guilt, maybe. Regret." She was crying, the woman I'd planned to marry, and I felt nothing except a cold, dark satisfaction. "You will," I said. "Happy New Year, Sophie." I walked out, closing the door on her sobbing. My phone started buzzing before I reached my car, calls, texts, all from her. I silenced it and drove to Daniel's place, where the music was already thumping through the windows. Let me back up 6 days, because that's when everything shattered. December 24th, Christmas Eve. Sophie had gone to her parents' house for their traditional family dinner. She'd invited me, but I'd begged off, claiming a deadline at work. She'd been disappointed but understanding. Trevor had called me at 8 p.m. "Dude, you need to come to Murphy's bar. Right now. It's Christmas Eve, man. I'm in my pajamas eating leftover Chinese. Sophie's here." I sat up straight. "What?" "She's supposed to be at her parents' in Riverside. That's an hour away." "Well, she's not. She's here. And, look, just come. You need to see this yourself. 20 minutes later, I was parking outside Murphy's, a dive bar near the university we'd both graduated from. Trevor met me at the door, his expression grim. Corner booth, left side, he said. I'm sorry, man. I pushed through the crowd, my heart hammering. And there she was. Sophie, in a green sweater I'd never seen before, sitting across from Nathan fucking Brennan. Nathan, who'd been her lab partner junior year. Nathan, who she'd sworn was just a friend when I'd expressed concern about how much time they spent together. Nathan, who'd graduated and moved to Portland for some tech job. Except he clearly wasn't in Portland. They weren't doing anything overtly damning, just talking, drinks between them. But it was the way she leaned in, the way she laughed, touching her neck the way she did when she was flirting, the way his hand rested on the table, fingers inches from hers. I watched for 10 minutes from behind a crowd of drunk college kids home for the holidays. Then Nathan's hand moved to cover hers. She didn't pull away. She turned her hand over, lacing their fingers together. I left before I did something stupid. Christmas Day, she came home around 2 p.m., all smiles and carrying a plate of her mom's cookies. Merry Christmas, baby. She kissed my cheek. Sorry I'm late. Mom wanted me to stay for breakfast, and you know how she is. How was dinner? I asked, accepting the cookies. Oh, you know, same as always. Dad's terrible jokes, Mom's overcrowded ham, my brother arguing politics with Uncle Ray. She kicked off her shoes, heading for the bedroom. I'm exhausted. Family is draining. I bet. She didn't notice my tone. Over the next 3 days, I did what any rational person would do. I investigated. I couldn't access her phone. She had a passcode I didn't know, which in hindsight was red flag number 1. But I could check our cell phone records online. I was the primary account holder. She'd been added to my plan when we moved in together. The records painted a clear picture. Starting 4 months ago, dozens of calls to a Portland number. Most of them during her lunch breaks or when I was at the gym. The longest was 93 minutes. Then, 2 weeks ago, Nathan's calls stopped coming from Portland. They started coming from a local area code. He'd moved back. I cross-referenced the dates of her girls' nights over the past month with the cell records. For girls' nights, 4 nights with multiple calls to and from Nathan's number. On 2 of those nights, her location services, which we'd shared for safety, showed her phone at an apartment complex I didn't recognize. The address lookup told me it was Nathan's new place. On December 27th, while Sophie was at work, I made my choice. I contacted the venue and canceled the party. I emailed all 50 guests with a brief message. Due to unforeseen circumstances, our New Year's Eve celebration is canceled. We apologize for the inconvenience and any travel arrangements already made. Full explanation to follow. I told my mom privately. She'd been furious at first, demanding to know why, threatening to call Sophie herself. When I'd explained what I'd found, she'd gone quiet for a long moment. I never liked that girl anyway, she'd finally said, which was a lie. She'd loved Sophie, but I appreciated the solidarity. I didn't tell Sophie's parents. That conversation, I decided, could wait. I also made one other call, to an old friend who worked at a private investigation firm. Cost me $800 for a rush job, but by December 29th, I had photos. Sophie and Nathan having dinner at a restaurant downtown. Sophie and Nathan entering his apartment building, his arm around her waist. Sophie's car parked overnight at his complex on December 23rd, the night she'd claimed she was staying late at her parents' to help with Christmas prep. Professional, time-stamped, undeniable. I uploaded them all to a cloud folder and sent the link to my email, where they'd be safe. Daniel's party was exactly as obnoxious as I remembered. Loud music, louder people, cheap beer in red cups like we were still in college. But I needed the noise to drown out the vibration of my phone, which hadn't stopped since I'd left. 17 missed calls from Sophie. 32 text messages. 3 voicemails I hadn't listened to. You actually came. Daniel clapped me on the shoulder, beer sloshing in his cup. Thought you'd be glued to Sophie's hip like usual. Nah, man. Free agent tonight. Hell yeah. Kegs in the kitchen. Megan brought some wild cocktail thing. And there's a betting pool on who's making out at midnight. I grabbed a beer and settled into a corner, watching people dance and laugh and live their uncomplicated lives. My phone buzzed again. Sophie, please come home. Sophie, I don't understand what I did wrong. Sophie, we can fix this whatever it is. Sophie, I'm calling your mom. That last one made me act. I pulled up my mom's number and sent a quick text. Don't answer, Sophie. Trust me. She replied immediately. Already blocked her number. You okay, honey? Getting there. I looked at Sophie's messages again. The desperation bled through the screen. Part of me, a small, stupid part, felt bad. Then I remembered her hand in Nathan's. I opened a new message. Stop calling. I know about Nathan. Don't contact me again. I hit send and watched the 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. They pulsed for a full minute before her response came through. Sophie, what are you talking about? Sophie, Nathan who? Sophie, are you drunk? This isn't funny. I almost laughed. Still lying, even when caught. I didn't respond. Instead, I pulled up the cloud folder and selected my 5 favorite photos from the PI's collection. Sophie and Nathan at the restaurant, leaning close. Sophie getting into his car. Sophie kissing his cheek outside his apartment. I created a new group message. Sophie, her mother, her father, her brother. I attached the photos. I typed, since I seem to be the last to know, I thought everyone should be on the same page. The engagement is off. Please don't contact me. My finger hovered over the send button. This was nuclear. This would destroy her relationship with her family, who were traditional and took cheating very seriously. Her mother would be mortified. She'd brag to everyone at her country club about the engagement. Her father would be furious. He'd always treated me like a son. I pressed send. Then I blocked all of their numbers, turned off my phone completely, and went to get another beer. Around 11:30, Trevor showed up at the party, fighting through the crowd to find me. Dude, I've been calling you. Phone's off. Smart. He grabbed my shoulder. You need to know, Sophie showed up at my apartment looking for you. What? Yeah, about half an hour ago. Pounding on my door, crying, demanding to know where you were. I told her I didn't know, but she didn't believe me. She was a mess. Mascara everywhere. Kept saying she needed to explain. Explain what? The photos are pretty clear. That's what I said. She claimed they're not what they look like. Of course she did. Her mom called her while she was there. I heard some of it through the door after she left. Trevor grimaced. It was bad. Really bad. Lots of screaming about family shame and disgrace. Good. You're ice cold, man. No. I'm done being the idiot who trusts people who don't deserve it. Someone turned up the music. The countdown was getting close. People were pairing off, claiming their midnight kiss partners. I watched a couple in the corner, clearly in love, wrapped around each other and oblivious to the rest of the party. That had been Sophie and me last New Year's. We'd stayed home, just us, watching the ball drop on TV. She'd kissed me at midnight and whispered that she wanted to be doing this every year for the rest of our lives. I love you so much, she'd said. You're my person, my forever person. Lies, apparently. Or maybe she'd meant it then and changed her mind later. I wasn't sure which was worse. You okay? Trevor asked quietly. I will be. At 11:58, Daniel started the countdown preparation, getting everyone gathered and excited. I stepped outside onto the porch, away from the noise and the couples and the celebration I didn't feel like joining. The street was quiet. A few cars passed, people heading to their own parties or home to their own lives. The December air was cold enough to sting my lungs. My phone was still off in my pocket. Inside, the countdown started. 10, 9, 8. I wondered if Sophie was alone right now. If she was crying in our apartment, surrounded by the boxes I hadn't packed yet, but would tomorrow. If she was trying to call me, getting voicemail, spiraling. 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. Cheers erupted inside. Through the window, I saw people kissing, hugging, celebrating. I smiled. Not a happy smile. Not a sad one either. Something else. The smile of someone who'd cut off a rotting limb before it could poison the rest of him. Tomorrow would be January 1st, 2024. A new year. A new start. Without her. I crashed at Trevor's place that night, still avoiding my phone. When I finally turned it on the next morning, I had 147 notifications. Most were from Sophie, voice messages, texts, video messages I didn't watch. A few were from concerned friends asking if the party really was canceled and what happened. 3 were from my mom, just checking in. And 1 was from a number I didn't recognize. Unknown, this is Nathan. We need to talk. I stared at that message for a long moment. Then I blocked the number without responding. Sophie had sent her last message at 4:47 a.m. I know you won't believe me, but I love you, and this is all a misunderstanding. Please let me explain. I'm begging you. I deleted it without reading the others. Trevor made coffee while I sat at his kitchen table, finally dealing with the aftermath. What's the plan? He asked, sliding a mug toward me. Move out. Our lease is in both names, but I'll eat the penalty to break it early. I'm not living with her. Where will you go? My mom's, temporarily. Just until I find a new place. And the ring. The engagement ring. Platinum band, half-carat diamond, 2 months' salary like the outdated rule suggested. I'd spent weeks picking it out, making sure it was perfect. She can keep it. I don't want it back. Dude, that thing cost like $5,000. I don't care. Let her pawn it or throw it in a river or whatever. I never want to see it again. I meant it. The money didn't matter. What mattered was drawing a line so clear, so definitive, that there could be no ambiguity about where we stood. We were done. Over the next week, I moved quickly, hired movers for January 3rd while Sophie was at work. Took only what was definitely mine, furniture I'd brought into the relationship, my clothes, my books, my computer setup. Left behind anything we'd bought together and everything that was hers. I also left a note on the kitchen counter. Lease break paperwork is filed. You have 60 days to find new housing or take over the lease yourself. All my contact information has changed. Don't try to reach me. My mom welcomed me home with a hug that lasted a full minute and my old bedroom made up with fresh sheets. You can stay as long as you need, she said. Forever, if you want. You'll always have a home here. Thanks, Mom. That girl's mother called me, she added. I didn't answer, but she left quite a voicemail. Very apologetic, very embarrassed. Said Sophie was beside herself and swears the photos are misleading. They're not. I know, honey. I told you I never liked her. You loved her. Well, I don't anymore. I smiled despite myself. The full story came out in pieces over the following weeks, mostly through mutual friends who felt I deserved to know. Sophie and Nathan had reconnected on social media last summer. Innocent at first, just commenting on each other's posts, reminiscing about college. Then private messages. Then video calls. When Nathan got a job offer back in town, Sophie had encouraged him to take it. She'd even helped him apartment hunt, claiming she was doing it during lunch breaks, when really she was skipping out early from work. Their first kiss happened in October, at a bar after what was supposed to be a group hangout that everyone else had canceled. They'd been sleeping together since November. Sophie had apparently planned to break up with me in January, after the holidays, because she didn't want to ruin Christmas. The engagement party was going to be her last-ditch effort to convince herself she was making the wrong choice. Nathan, for his part, had no idea I existed until I sent those photos to Sophie's family. She told him we'd broken up months ago, but were stuck in a lease together. He believed her. When he found out the truth, that she was engaged, that there was a New Year's Eve party planned, that she'd been lying to him too, he'd apparently ended things immediately. So Sophie had lost both of us in one night. Some of our mutual friends reached out, trying to mediate or suggest couples counseling. I shut that down immediately. There's nothing to mediate, I told them. She cheated. End of story. I don't forgive cheaters, and I don't do second chances. A few people thought I was being too harsh, that everyone makes mistakes, that 4 years together was worth fighting for. I blocked those people too. Because here's the thing, Sophie didn't make a mistake. She made a series of deliberate choices, over and over, for months. She chose to message Nathan. She chose to meet him. She chose to kiss him, sleep with him, build a relationship with him behind my back. She chose to look me in the eye every day and lie. That wasn't a mistake. That was a betrayal so fundamental, so complete, that there was no coming back from it. And honestly, I was better off alone than with someone who saw me as disposable. 3 weeks after New Year's, I was finally starting to feel like myself again. I'd found an apartment, small, nothing fancy, but mine. I'd thrown myself into work, earning praise from my boss for my sudden surge in productivity. I'd started going to the gym regularly, rediscovering hobbies I'd neglected. I was healing. Then, on a Thursday afternoon, my mom called. "Honey, Sophie's at the house." I froze in the middle of a grocery store aisle. "What?" "She showed up about 10 minutes ago." I didn't answer the door, but she's on the porch. She's crying and says she won't leave until she talks to you. Call the police. Tell them she's trespassing. Are you sure? She seems really distraught. Mom, call the police. I'm on my way. I abandoned my shopping cart and drove to my mom's house 15 minutes away, probably breaking several traffic laws. By the time I arrived, a police cruiser was already parked out front. Sophie sat on the porch steps, head in her hands, an officer standing over her. She looked up when I got out of my car. Finally, she jumped up, starting toward me. The officer stepped in her way. "Ma'am, you need to stay right there. He's here. I just need 5 minutes to explain." "Ma'am, please." She was sobbing now, mascara streaked and desperate. "Please, just 5 minutes. You owe me that much." "I don't owe you anything," I said coldly. The officer looked at me. "Sir, is this woman bothering you?" "Yes. She's my ex-fiancée. I've asked her multiple times not to contact me. She's shown up at my mother's house uninvited. I'm not leaving until you talk to me." Sophie shouted. "You can't just throw away 4 years without even letting me explain." "I can, and I did. Officer, I want her removed from the property." "You're making a mistake." Sophie's voice cracked. Nathan was nothing. It was a stupid, meaningless thing, and I ended it. "I choose you. I've always chosen you." I looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time since New Year's Eve. She'd lost weight. Her hair was unwashed. Her eyes were puffy and red-rimmed. She looked broken. I felt nothing. "You didn't choose me," I said quietly. "You chose yourself. Over and over. You just got caught. That's not fair." "Fair? You want to talk about fair?" My voice rose despite my attempt to stay calm. Was it fair to lie to me every day for months? Was it fair to plan our engagement party while you were sleeping with someone else? Was it fair to make me look like an idiot in front of everyone we know? I made a mistake. No, you made a choice. And now you get to live with the consequences. I turned to the officer. "Please make sure she leaves and doesn't come back." "Sir, wait." Sophie tried to push past the officer. He gently restrained her. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to leave the property now. If you refuse, I'll have to take you into custody." "This is insane." She was screaming now. "You're going to regret this. When you're alone and miserable, you're going to remember that I tried. I tried to fix us, and you wouldn't let me." I walked past her into my mom's house without looking back. Through the window, I watched the officer escort her to her car and make sure she drove away. My hands were shaking. "You okay, honey?" My mom appeared with a glass of water. "Yeah, I think so. She's desperate. She's selfish. There's a difference." I sat down heavily on the couch, the adrenaline crash hitting me. Did I do the right thing? "Yes," my mom said firmly. "You did. That girl broke your trust in the worst possible way. You don't owe her forgiveness just because she finally feels guilty about it." She was right. I knew she was right. So why did I feel so hollow? I never heard from Sophie again directly after that. The police officer had apparently warned her that any further contact would result in a restraining order, which seemed to finally get through to her. but I heard about her. Through mutual friends, through social media, I occasionally checked from a fake account, through the invisible network of gossip that connects everyone in a small city. She'd moved back in with her parents. She'd quit her job, whether by choice or by firing, I never found out. She'd deactivated all her social media accounts. She'd apparently told her family she was taking time to work on herself, whatever that meant. Nathan had moved back to Portland. He'd wanted nothing to do with the drama. Meanwhile, I was rebuilding. Slowly, piece by piece. I went on a few dates. Nothing serious, just testing the waters. I reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with during my relationship. I got a promotion at work. I signed a year-long lease on my new apartment and actually decorated it, making it mine instead of just a place to sleep. I was okay. More than okay, actually. I was happy. Not in the ecstatic, honeymoon phase way I'd been happy with Sophie at the beginning, but in a quieter, more solid way. The kind of happiness that comes from knowing exactly who you are and what you won't tolerate. 6 months after that New Year's Eve, I ran into Sophie's best friend, Rachel, at a coffee shop. She approached my table hesitantly. "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" I considered saying no, but curiosity won. "Sure." She sat down across from me, hands wrapped around her coffee cup. "I know you probably don't want to hear anything about Sophie." "You're right. I don't. But I think you should know she's getting help. Real help. Therapy, the whole thing. She's actually dealing with why she did what she did. Good for her. She wanted me to tell you she's sorry. Really, genuinely sorry. Not just sorry she got caught, but sorry for what she did to you. Rachel, I appreciate you telling me. But I don't care." She blinked. "You don't care?" "No. Sophie's journey to becoming a better person is her business. It has nothing to do with me. We're done, permanently, and I've moved on. She really loved you, you know. She loved herself more. And that's fine. People are allowed to be selfish, but they're not entitled to forgiveness afterward." I stood up, grabbing my coffee. "I hope she finds whatever she's looking for. I really do. But it won't be with me." I left Rachel sitting there, looking troubled. And I meant what I'd said. I did hope Sophie was getting better, working through whatever drove her to cheat. Maybe she'd become a better person because of this. Maybe she'd never do it to someone else. But that someone else would never be me. That New Year's Eve, I went to Daniel's party again. This time, though, I was actually in the mood to celebrate. Trevor met me at the door with a beer and a grin. "Look at you, man. You're glowing. It's been a good year. Better than last year. Infinitely better." We clinked bottles. At 11:59, I found myself on the same porch I'd stood on 12 months ago, breathing the same cold December air. But everything else was different. Last year, I'd been raw and angry and hurt. I'd smiled because I'd finally taken control, but it had been a bitter smile. This year, inside, the countdown started. 10, 9, 8. This year, I was genuinely, deeply content. 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. I smiled again, but this time it was real. Because I'd learned something important over the past 12 months. The best revenge isn't making someone suffer for what they did to you. It's building a life so good, you forget they ever existed. Sophie spent last New Year's alone, dealing with the consequences of her choices. And I spent this New Year's free, surrounded by people who actually valued me, looking forward to a future that was entirely mine. That was worth more than any midnight kiss.